Okay, children, for means today's topic is dimensional analysis, the third part of chapter number 2 that I am going to start today. Okay, and we will try to finish this topic, dimensional analysis, complete topic today itself. Right? However, the topic is very important because you can expect one question from this topic in any exam. Suppose a UT or half yearly or annual, at least one question you can expect from this part. Okay, so first thing is, we will start with the term itself, the dimensions. Dimensions. So dimensions are nothing but the fundamental quantities. You have fundamental quantities like M, L, T. When we talk about mechanics only mechanics, we have three fundamental quantities that are mass, length and time. We have, of course, we have four more units, four more fundamental quantities in terms of SI system, but we are not going to means they are not involved in the study of mechanics a lot, so we can leave them now. So we have three fundamental quantities. So simple definition of dimensions is to what power, to what exponent or to what power a fundamental quantity must be raised in order to get a particular derived quantity. Suppose you have, just giving an example like force. So force equals to mass into acceleration. Then it is mass into velocity, velocity upon time. Then you can write mass into displacement upon time, because velocity you can write as displacement upon time. Then it is equal to mass into displacement upon time square. Now mass is m, displacement is L, and time is T. Time power is -2, L power is 1, m power is 1. So these exponents, if you raise the exponent, if you raise the power of m to 1, if you raise the power of L, length, to 1, and you raise the power of time to -2, then the quantity you get is force. Okay, so these exponents, they are called as the dimensions. So dimensions are the exponents or the powers to which the fundamental quantities must be raised in order to get a particular derived quantity. Okay, if you get a derived quantity equals to m raised power a, l raised power b, t raised power c, like this, then this a, b, c, they are called as the dimensions of that particular derived quantity. Right? So this is the definition. Now that notation, what is the notation? Notation is, you write the fundamental quantities, their exponents, and always we write them inside the square braces. This is a particular notation for dimensions, for writing the dimensions. Now, okay, this ABC, they are your A, B, C, they are your dimensions. Okay, and this particular is called as dimensional formula. Okay, so dimensional formula is written inside the square braces. This ABC alone are called as dimensions. This complete within the square braces, m raised power a, l raised power b, t raised power c, is called as the dimensional formula. Okay, dimensional formula, dimensions of this derived quantity, particular derived quantity, dimensional formula of that particular derived quantity, and this as a whole is called as dimensional equation. Okay, so when you equate a dimensional formula to a derived quantity, that equation becomes dimensional equation. So three terms we have here: dimensions, dimensional formula, dimensional equation. Only the powers, they are dimensions of the derived quantity. This complete part is called as dimensional formula of the derived quantity, and this as a whole is called as the dimensional equation of the derived quantity. Okay, when you make a equal to sign and equate the dimensional formula to the dimensional quantity, derived quantity, we call it as a dimensional equation. Okay, so it means that here if I write this, force F is equal to m raised power 1, L raised power 1, T raised power minus 2. If I write like this, so dimensions are 1, 1, minus 2. Dimensional formula is m1, L1, T raised power minus 2. And this as a whole is dimensional equation. Okay? This is about the definition of dimensions and dimensional equation. Okay. So few more examples you can write, like just an example I gave you here. Another example you can take of density. Density equals to mass upon volume. Now mass can be written as m and volume is L cube. Okay. If you take L into B into H, that will be the volume. Please switch off your mic. Switch off your mic if you have switched on. Better switch off your mic. Okay, right. Okay, so mass is m. This is a fundamental quantity itself. Volume, you can write L into B into H. Now L, B, H all are lengths only. So you can write L cube. So what is your dimensional formula? M L minus 3. Now here you have not mentioned T. It simply means simple meaning is that the exponent of T is 0. It means that suppose I am not writing 1 here. If I am not mentioning any power, it means that the power is plus 1. And if I am not mentioning any fundamental quantity, that means that fundamental quantity is raised to the power 0, or the dimension of that fundamental quantity is 0, means that fundamental quantity is not involved in obtaining the derived quantity. So density, in obtaining the density, there is no role of time, so I have not mentioned T. Okay, I think you can understand this. So M, no power written means simply it is understood that the power is 1. Fundamental quantity is not there, understood that fundamental quantity's power is 0. Okay, you can take another example like velocity. Velocity is equal to displacement upon time. So it is displacement is length and time is t. So you can write LT minus 1. You can write LT minus 1 or you can write like this 0. M0, L1, T minus 1. Both are correct. They both are correct. So LT minus 1 or M0, L1, T minus 1, you can write like that also. Okay. So these are few examples of that derived quantities and their dimensional formula. So this, if I am writing like this, it is your dimensional formula, and if I write like this, V equals to LT minus 1, this becomes your dimensional equation. Okay? Alright.
Sir?
Yes.
आपने जो लास्ट में लिखा था ना v is equal to L the power 1 and T the power minus 1.
Yes.
अब मैंने m नहीं लिखा तो m लिखना कंपल्सरी नहीं होता डायमेंशंस में?
बेटा जिसकी हाँ, that's what I was saying. I was telling you that if any fundamental quantity's exponent is 0, then no need to write that fundamental quantity. It's your choice. Means you can write like this. M0 L1 T minus 1. You can write like this. Okay, for velocity. Or you can write like this L T minus 1, or you can write like this also M0 L T minus 1. Try to understand that if I am not writing the power, it is understood that the power is 1. Okay. If I am not writing the fundamental quantity M, then it means that its power is 0. So that fundamental quantity is not involved. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right? This one.
And sir, if we are asked to write the dimensions of the dimensional equation, then in this we will write 1 minus 1 or 0, 1 minus 1.
You will have to mention all the three, 0, 1 and minus 1. See how you will, if suppose you are asked to write the dimensions. Listen, just a minute. If you are asked to write the dimensions, then you will not simply say that 0, 1 and minus 1. You will say the dimension of mass is 0, of length is 1, and of time is minus 1. This way you will write. Dimension you will have to express that for what particular fundamental quantity that any fundamental quantity is, that dimension is this one. The next fundamental quantity dimension is this. You cannot simply write 0, 1 and minus 1. You will say the dimension of mass is 0, the dimension of length is 1 and the dimension of t is minus 1 in the derived quantity velocity. This way you will see.
And sir, if we write LT minus 1, then we'll write the dimensions of L and T only and not mass.
Beta, when they will ask you the dimensions, understand the question. If they are asking you the dimensions, then you will mention all the three, right? Then you will have to mention all the three. This is the way to write the dimensional formula. I am telling you, this is formula now. So
Okay,
formula you can express in this way. Okay? Alright?
Yes, sir.
Formula you can express like this, means you can remove this, no need to write it. But if they are asking you the dimensions, then you will have to mention that the dimension of mass is 0, the dimension of length is 1 and the dimension of time is minus 1 in the derived quantity velocity. Okay, like this you will speak. Okay, are you getting my point? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I think I can move ahead. So similarly, you can find the dimensional formula or dimensional equation or dimensions of any derived quantity. You must know the formula of that derived quantity, right? You must know the formula. But yesterday also I told you that please join at 11:55 and now it is 12:20 and you are trying to enter the class. Today last time I am allowing you to enter after 12. Okay, from tomorrow onwards I want you before 5 minutes before 12. It becomes very difficult for me to go other side and just admit you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So, these ML and T have to be written in this order only?
Yes, generally this is a kind of notation. You can, if you are writing MLT, you can do that also. Means you can reshuffle. You can write L first and M second. But actually, you know that suppose we are moving on the road. Okay, so this is a kind of understanding that we move on the left side. So this becomes an understanding. So it looks better if you write like this only, MLT. Okay. This is a way of writing. So just to follow a precise manner, we write like this, MLT. But otherwise you can write LMT also. It doesn't matter because you are mentioning all the three. Okay. Right?
Yes, sir.
Oh yes. But it looks good. This is a way. This is a means usual way that how we write. We write M first, then L, then T. Okay. And if any other quantity is there, suppose when we will move on to the next chapters, that after particularly the first book, when we will move on to the next chapters, there you will find the involvement of other fundamental quantities also in the dimensional formula. So any other fundamental quantity after MLT, we generally write that at the last. First M, L, T, and if any other is involved, then we write at the last, at the end. Okay, this way.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can give you one more example. Suppose you want to write the dimensional formula of universal gravitational constant G. We know that by that Newton's law of gravitation, you have F equals to G M upon R square. So G is equal to F R square upon M small m. Now F is mass into acceleration into L square. This R is nothing but R is the distance of separation between the masses. So that you can say is length only. So L square. And what about M and M? They both are masses. So M square. So this mass is M into acceleration is velocity upon time into L square upon M square. 1 square and M will get cancelled. Now this is your velocity is displacement upon time. So you can write displacement upon time square into L square upon M. Now you can write displacement is L upon T square into L square upon M. So finally you can write, you bring this m to the numerator and write the power -1. Then L into L square will become L cube, and this t is again in the denominator, so t raised to power -2. So this is the dimensions of gravitational constant are that mass has a dimension of -1, length has a dimension of 3, and t has a dimension of -2. Dimensional formula is m-1 L3 t-2, and the dimensional equation is this. G is equal to bracket braces m-1 L3 t-2. So this is an example. These are few examples of how to obtain the dimensional formula or dimensional equation, how to write the dimensional equation. Okay, just you need to know the formula and just reduce the formula to the fundamental quantities of mass, length and time. Obtain the you must know the formula, then reduce that formula to MLT form and just write their powers. Okay, now next we move on to types of quantities. Types of quantities. Now types of quantities, now we know that quantities are of two types. They are constants or variables. Now constants again can be of two types, dimensional constant or undimensional constants, means those who don't have any dimensions. Then similarly variables can be dimensional variables or dimensionless variables. So we have two types of quantities, constants and variables. Okay, then constants can be dimensional or dimensionless. Variables can be constants or dimensionless. Okay, so you can say particularly the quantities are of four types: dimensional constants, dimensionless constants, constant variables, dimensionless. I wrote here constant. It should not be constant. It is dimensional variables, dimensional and dimensionless variables. Okay. Now I will give you an example. Dimensional constants, like this dimensional constant, like speed of light. Okay, like speed of light. What is the speed of light? It is fixed. 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. Okay, 3 into 10 raised to power 8. This is the fixed value of speed of light. Now speed is a dimensional quantity. What is the dimensional formula? Speed LT minus 1. So the dimension of speed of light is LT minus 1, but it have a fixed value. So it is a dimensional constant. Okay. Okay. Then similarly we have other constants like gravitational constant. Just we obtained capital G, C, capital G. Then you have a Planck's constant. Okay. Planck's constant is you will come to know about Planck's constant in second book. Till now, I just tell you that Planck's constant is nothing but energy upon frequency. Okay, for a particular radiation, we find the Planck's constant, and that Planck's constant is the energy of the radiation divided by its frequency. So this is again a dimensional constant. A Planck's constant is a dimensional constant. It have dimensions. Okay, there is one more called as Boltzmann's constant, BZ, right? And this Boltzmann constant is nothing but R upon N. R is your that gas constant.
समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
बेटा समझ में अभी जो है ना, मैं जस्ट आपको आगे की चीजें सिर्फ एक लाइन में आपको बता रहा हूँ, ठीक है? ये अभी समझ में इसलिए नहीं आएगा क्योंकि ये सब आपके आगे वाले चैप्टर्स में डिटेल में इंक्लूड किए हुए हैं, ठीक है? अभी तो आप सिर्फ ये समझिए कि कुछ होते हैं dimensional constant, their value is constant but they have dimensions. Like just now I obtained what was the dimension of G. What was dimension of G? m-1 L3 t-2. Just now I obtained, correct? And how much is the value of G? What is G? G is a universal gravitational constant, 6.63 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. This was, I think, included in your class 10th also. Do you remember
Yes,
this?
Yes, sir.
So what about G? G is having
Yes,
a
sir.
constant value.
Sir.
G have a constant value, correct? And it have a dimensional formula also. So this G is called as dimensional constant. A constant with dimensions. Okay.
Yes,
Similarly,
sir.
we have others also like speed of light. Speed of light is fixed. It is how much? 3 into 10 raised to 8.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Speed of light is fixed. It have a fixed value 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. And what is the dimensional formula? Speed. Speed is Lt minus 1. So speed of light have a constant value. It have a dimensional formula also. So this is also a dimensional constant. Okay.
Yes, sir.
For the time being, you can leave them. You can leave them. But I was just giving you an example that we have some constants like Planck's constant and Boltzmann constant. They are also dimensional constants. Yes, can you understand now?
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
don't go for, yes, listen, don't go for this, that what is Planck's constant and what is Boltzmann constant. Leave it now. You can take them as examples, that just like C and G, we have Planck's constant and Boltzmann constant, which are dimensional constants. They are examples. Okay, what they are, you will come to know in your second book, second physics, second part, right? You will come to know that what these constants are, right? Now we have dimensionless constants. Okay, you have pi. What is the value of pi? Pi is 22 upon 7. This is a simple number. Okay, it have no dimensions. So it is a constant but without any dimensions. So it is dimensionless constant. Like other numbers, 1, 2, 3, all these numbers, they are simple numbers. They are dimensionless constants. They are constants but they don't have any dimensional formula. Similarly, E, the value of E is 2.148. Okay, this exponent value, it have a fixed value, the constant E, so it is also a dimensionless constant. Okay, so these were constants, dimensional, dimensionless. Now we come to the dimensionless variables. Dimensional variables, first of all. So dimensional variable can be your, like suppose you find area. Just now we obtained so many formula, area, density. Okay, they are variables, their value will depend upon the situation and they have dimensions also. So area, density, your force, momentum, they all are dimensional variables, right? The last group is dimensionless variables. So dimensionless variables are like angle. Okay, suppose you say that the angle of inclination is 60 degree. So that angle have a variable value. That angle the angle is different for different conditions. Suppose you have two different angles, their values will be different. So it is not a constant. It is a variable, but it doesn't have any dimensional formula. Angle does not have any dimensional formula. Similarly, you have another example, strain. This you will come to know in second book about this strain. What is a strain? Strain is a ratio of change in dimension. Suppose I stretch this pen, suppose, then I will stretch the length of the pen, suppose by L, suppose 2 units, and actually it was 1 unit. So the ratio of change in length to the original length, that is something called as strain. Not going again into the depth of this topic, I'm leaving it, just you remember as an example. The name you remember, just that strain is an example of dimensionless variable. Okay, few things you will come to know when we will progress through the syllabus. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, alright, so we have these 4 types of quantities. Now next is uses.
But sir, angle can be converted into radian and radian is a physical quantity.
Yes, again repeat.
Sir, angle can be converted to radian and radian is a physical quantity, so why it is dimensionless?
Beta, radian, that angle is a physical quantity. That's why we have written that name here. What I told you, that quantities can be grouped into 2 groups. Okay, quantities can be grouped in 2 ways. One is constants, one is variable, right? Then constants can be again grouped as dimensional and dimensionless. Variables again can be grouped as dimensional and dimensionless. So your angle of course it should be a quantity because you can measure the angle, but what type of quantity it is? It is dimensionless variable. Its value depends on different situations. Value will be different, it can take any value, but it is a dimensionless. Dimensions are different from quantity. Everything is a quantity, that whatever you can measure is a quantity, but every quantity does not have the dimensions. Okay? Beta, speak a little louder. Speak a little louder.
Sir, angle can be converted to radian, and radian is a physical quantity.
So beta, I am saying this, that angle is a physical quantity. I am not denying that angle is not. I am not saying that angle is not a physical quantity. Okay, it have a unit also. Anything you can measure, you must have a unit. Anything you can measure is a physical quantity. So I am not saying that angle is not a physical quantity. But what type of physical quantity? It is a dimensionless physical quantity. Okay, you tell me. Suppose I say that suppose there is a stick, and you are looking at the stick, the top of the stick, and you make an angle of 60 degree. Okay, now you tell me what is the length of this angle. How much is the length of this angle? You tell me what is mass of this angle, what is length of this angle, what is time of this angle. Tell me now.
But sir, it can be converted into radian.
So beta, radian is the unit. What we are talking about, dimension is related to these fundamental quantities. You tell me how much mass is there in 60 degree angle. How much length is there? How much time is there? What I am asking you, can you say that these quantities are involved in the measurement of angle? That's why I am saying that it is a dimensionless variable. Why variable? Because if your stick would have been this much height, if it would have taken this much height, then the angle would have been, suppose your 80 degree. So it can take any value according to the situation. That is why it is a variable. Angle is a variable, but it has no involvement of mass, length and time, the fundamental quantities. That is why it is a dimensionless variable. You can convert it to radian, that is okay. Radian is a unit. Okay, radian is a unit to measure the angle. Angle is a physical quantity, so you can measure it. So you have a unit, but it doesn't mean that it will have the involvement of mass, length and time. Okay? Are you getting my point?
Can't be expressed in this MLP form, so what is considered dimensional?
Beta, you will have to speak a little louder. I am unable to hear your sound. Yes, speak.
So why current is considered as dimensional quantity, yet it doesn't have mass, length and time?
Which one? Current.
Yes, sir.
Current. Okay, because just now I told you that current we consider itself is a fundamental quantity. What we consider that we have 7 fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantities means which can be directly measured. Okay, and they cannot be, you cannot obtain them from some other quantity. Means it is not possible. Just like force, you are not required to measure the force directly. What you can do is you can measure mass, you can measure acceleration, and with mass and acceleration you can obtain the value of force. Okay, so force is not a fundamental quantity, but we have 7 fundamental quantities and electric current is one among them. Okay, so electric current have its own dimensional formula, and that is I have its own dimensional formula. So what this formula will be? M0, L0, T0, but A power 1. Okay, I told you just earlier that we have 7 fundamental quantities. Actually, inside the braces we must write all the 7 fundamental quantities actually. But when we are talking about mechanics, we know that these are always not involved. Other 4 are not involved. Only these 3 are involved in mechanics. Mechanics, so you understand mechanics related to motion. Our first part, physics first part. So we know that they are all not involved here, so we are not mentioning them. Okay, we are mentioning only MLT. Otherwise, this itself is I itself is a fundamental quantity, and it have its own unique dimensional formula, and that is A only. I is equal to, inside the square braces, it is A. Okay, just like M. Suppose mass. its dimensional formula is m only. Length, its dimensional formula is L only. Time, dimensional formula is T only. Similarly, current, I, dimensional formula is A. Similarly, temperature, dimensional formula is K. For Kelvin, we write like K. Okay, are you getting my point?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Huh?
Thank you, sir.
बेटा, it means are you getting it? Can you understand? आप
Yes,
समझ,
sir.
आपको समझ में आ रहा है? देखिए, मैं आपको एक बार फिर से बता देता हूँ, ठीक है? ये जो MLT है, अब मैं आपसे पूछूं कि मास का डायमेंशनल फॉर्मूला क्या है, तो वो m ही है केवल, ठीक है? तो इसलिए वो m itself is a आपका ये जो खुद में अपने आप में डायमेंशनल फॉर्मूला है। ऐसे ही इलेक्ट्रिक करंट का जो एम्पियर है, अगर आप 7 फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज देखेंगे जो मैंने आपको लिखाई थी एसआई सिस्टम में, तो वो कौन सी हैं? मास, लेंथ, टाइम, इलेक्ट्रिक करंट, टेम्परेचर, देन योर ल्यूमिनस इंटेंसिटी एंड क्वांटिटी ऑफ मैटर, ठीक है? इन 7 को छोड़ करके, यानी कि ये 7 क्वांटिटीज कौन सी हैं जिनको आप सिर्फ डायरेक्टली मेजर कर सकते हैं, इनको आप डेराइव नहीं कर सकते कहीं और से, समझ रहे हैं? ठीक है, इनको आप केवल डायरेक्टली मेजर कर सकते हैं। इनसे अलग 2 चीजें और हैं जिनको सिर्फ डायरेक्टली मेजर किया जा सकता है, और वो कौन सी हैं? सॉलिड एंगल और प्लेन एंगल, ठीक है? तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि ये खुद में ये वाले जो, लेकिन क्यों हमने उसको फंडामेंटल क्वांटिटीज में सिंपली नहीं रखा, उनको सप्लीमेंट्री क्वांटिटीज क्यों रखा? किसको? एंगल को, प्लेन एंगल और सॉलिड एंगल को सप्लीमेंट्री क्यों रखा? क्योंकि वो डायमेंशन उनके हमने असाइन नहीं किए, हमने उनको कोई डायमेंशन नहीं दिया। यहां पे हमने डायमेंशन असाइन किए हैं इन 7 के, M, L, T, A, K, इस तरह से। कैंडेला का CD, ठीक है, ल्यूमिनस इंटेंसिटी का हमने डायमेंशन अलाउ किया है CD, और आपका क्वांटिटी ऑफ मैटर के लिए असाइन किया है हमने मोल, MOL, ठीक है? लेकिन हमने सॉलिड एंगल और प्लेन एंगल के लिए कोई हमने डायमेंशन असाइन नहीं किया, इसीलिए हमने उनको अलग से सप्लीमेंट्री यूनिट्स कहा है। अब समझ में आया आपको?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, तो एंगल इज अ डायमेंशनलेस वेरिएबल। ओके, सेटिस्फैक्शन है या नहीं? समझ में आया? अभी भी नहीं आया तो बताओ। समझ गए?
Yes, sir.
ओके, now the uses, and we have 3 uses. One is conversion of system of units. So conversion of system of units means, suppose you are given a quantity in terms of SI system, then you can measure its unit in terms of, you can change it to CGS system, from CGS system to SI system, means you can change the system of units with the help of dimensional analysis. Second is you can check incorrectness of a dimensional formula. I will not write incorrectness. To check the correctness of a dimensional formula, to check the correctness of a physical relation, sorry, not dimensional
So the
formula.
board,
Huh?
the board is blurred, sir.
Physical relation. Just a minute.
Sir, it's clear.
Beta, there may be some problem with your own internet connection, okay? Otherwise, at my end it is fine, and few others can see it is okay. Okay, try to listen to me. I will just increase the size of the font, and maybe you may get the clear picture in few minutes. The third one is obtaining a physical relation. Means with the help of dimensional formula, with the help of dimensional analysis, with the knowledge of dimensions, you can convert one system of units to other. You can check the correctness of a physical relation. Like suppose we want to check that F equals to MA is correct or not. Okay, V equals to UT plus half AT square is correct or not. So that we can do with the help of dimensional method. And third one is we can obtain a dimensional formula also. We can obtain the a physical relation with the help of dimensions. Okay, so I'm starting with the first use, that is conversion of system of units. How we can convert one system of unit to other system. And for that I am taking an example. Suppose 1 Newton to dyne. I am converting that how much will be 1 Newton in terms of dyne. Means I am converting SI unit to CGS unit. Okay. Now I will write first that what is the dimensional formula of force. They both are units of force. So dimensional formula of force is MLT minus 2. MLT minus 2 is the dimensional formula of force. Now one side I will write the units, the dimensions in terms of SI system, like N1 is equal to, N1 means how many units you are taking. So we are taking 1 Newton, and here N2, how many units in CGS system you will get, that is your answer, that is your question. Means how many dynes are there in 1 Newton. So N1 is 1, N2 is, you are required to find that value, that how many dynes are there. Okay, then M1 is equal to 1 kg. We will write the quantities in terms of SI unit. M1 is 1 kg, L1 is 1 meter, and T1 is 1 second. Right? Here in N2, your M2 will be the unit of mass in CGS system, that is 1 gram. Then L2 is equal to 1 centimeter, and T2 is 1 second. Okay. Now we know that you have to use a formula, that how you obtain the size of the quantity. How you will obtain? You write this M1, L1, T1, what is the dimensional formula. This is the size of one quantity, means one unit of that quantity. And how many units are involved? N1. This is the size of one quantity, and how many times that quantity is N1, and this tells you the total amount of that physical quantity. Suppose you are writing, suppose 3 Newton force is there, so you can write 3 into 1 Newton. Okay, so 1 Newton quantity is this M1, L1, T1, this one, and it is involved how many times? It is N1 times involved. This 1 unit is involved 3 times, and then you get the quantity 3 Newton. So this one, the value is MLT minus 2. This quantity is N1 times involved, and you get the quantity Q. If you will change the system of units, it is not going to change the amount of quantity. Means suppose you have inside a bucket, you have suppose 10 liters of water. Okay, if I say that this 10 liter of water, if I convert it into just a minute, if suppose it is 1 liter water, okay, 1 liter water is there inside a small vessel. If I change this unit to suppose centimeter cube, I say 10 centimeter cube of water is there. Is this going to change the amount of water inside the bucket? No, the water is same. Either you say 1 liter or you say 10 centimeter cube. So similarly, if I write N1 times this, it is Q, as well as the quantity is not going to change if you are writing N2 times M2, L2, T2 minus 2. The formula, you will take M2, L2, T2, the quantities of CGS system, they are involved N2 times, and then you get the quantity Q. Your Q is not going to change. If you are changing the system, your number of times the involvement of the unit, this number of times is going to change from here, but what not going to change is this quantity Q. It will remain as it is, because that quantity is fixed. The quantity will not change. So just remember, this was for the explanation of part only. Just you remember that what you have to do is, in conversion, you have to just remember a formula that you write like this. N1 M1 L1 T1, N2 M2 L2 T2. N2 is your required value. You keep your required value as N2 and use this formula N1 M1 L1 T1 minus 2 equals to N2 M2 L2 T2 minus 2. Just make it equal. Okay. N1 M1 L1 T1, and this is the dimensions should be according to the dimensional formula. Since force have M1 L1 T minus 2, so I am writing that. If some other quantity is there, then you will write the powers according to that dimensional formula. So from here you can say N2 is equal to N1 times M1 upon M2 into L1 upon L2 into T1 upon T2 power minus 2. Only this T have a power minus 2, others don't have. Now you just place the values. N1 is 1, okay, then M1 is 1 kg upon 1 gram into L1 is 1 meter upon 1 centimeter into 1 second upon 1 second power minus 2. This will cancel and 1 raised power minus 2 will be 1 only. 1 multiplied to anything will remain 1. So what you are going to get here is, it is 1 into anything, so you can write this as 10 raised power 3 grams upon 1 gram into 10 raised power 2 centimeter upon 1 centimeter into 1 into 1. Now this gram get cancelled, centimeter get cancelled, and you get 10 raised power 3 into 10 raised power 2, 10 raised power 5. So what is N2? 10 raised power 5. So it means that, what is the meaning? It means that 1 Newton equals to 10 raised power 5 dyne. Okay, 1 Newton is equivalent to 10 raised power 5 dyne. Right? This is your method of conversion of units from one system to other system. Now any doubt here?
No, sir.
Okay, you will go through my video once again, and then if you find any problem, you can ask me tomorrow in my next class. Right? Simple way, the system which is given to you, first of all you write the dimensional formula of that particular quantity. Then which system is given to you, take that value as number of times as N1 and write and take this its dimensions as M1 L1 T1. Okay, the system in which you are required to convert, take that system's number of times as N2, which is your required to be found, and take its quantities as M2 L2 T2, and just simply make them equal. Then like this you find out the value. This is your method. Okay, next is second is to check the correctness of physical relation. Okay, now to check, before checking the correctness of a physical relation, we need to know a theorem which is called as a principle, which is called as principle of homogeneity of dimensions. Before doing this, we need to know about the principle of homogeneity of dimensions. Now what this principle of homogeneity dimensions tell us, that the dimensions of fundamental quantities on both the sides of a dimensional equation F is equal to MA. Suppose you have like this. So here we have a dimensional equation. Now what is the dimensions of force? It is MLT minus 2. Just few minutes back I obtained. What will be the dimension of this M? It is mass is M and A is LT minus 2. So it means that MLT minus 2. So you can see that the dimensions of fundamental quantities, M is 1, both sides same, L both sides same, T both sides same. The dimensions of fundamental quantities on both sides of the equation must be equal. Okay, for a dimensional equation, the dimensions of fundamental quantities on both sides of the equation must be same. I will give you another example. Suppose you have s equals to ut plus half at square. So s is L only, u is initial velocity Lt minus 1, t is your time t, plus half is a constant, dimensionless constant, a is Lt minus 2 acceleration, and t is t square, right? So it becomes t minus 1, t plus 1, so it becomes L, and this becomes t raised power minus 2 and t raised power plus 2. If you will add the powers, you get L only. So you can find that the dimensions of fundamental quantities on both sides, here L, 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 means for individual terms. In individual terms, if you have two terms, then both the terms must have the same dimensions according to the left hand side. Means on both sides of the equation, the dimensions of the fundamental quantities must be same. This is your principle of homogeneity of dimensions. Okay. Now let's use this to check the correctness of a physical relation. We have a formula for time period of a simple pendulum. It is 2 pi under root L upon G. That you will come to know later on in your last chapter, very last chapter. You will get a formula for time period of oscillation of a pendulum. T equals to 2 pi under root L upon G, where L is the effective length of the pendulum, and G is acceleration due to gravity. So now let us check whether this formula is dimensionally correct or not. Okay, so the dimensional formula of left hand side, is, it is time, so dimensional formula is T only. Now we find the dimensional formula of right hand side. It is just a minute. You can write like this: L, length is L, and G is acceleration due to gravity, Lt minus 2, and the power is half. You have a square root. Okay, so now this L and L will get cancelled, and t raised power minus 2 will become t raised power plus 2 at the numerator, and power is half because you have a square root, right? Now this square and half will get cancelled, and you are getting how much? T. So look at 1 and 2. Are you getting the same dimensions? Yes. So you will say that T is equal to 2 pi under root L upon G is dimensionally correct. Is a dimensionally correct formula. Okay. Now suppose we have we take the dimensional formula of work. Okay, let us check work equals to torque. Suppose we have a equation, we have a formula that work is equal to torque. Okay, or we can take simple examples. Just a minute. We can take a simple example. We can take just a minute. Just let us take an example. Yes, listen. Suppose I write a formula like this. V is equal to, actually we have this formula, V is equal to U plus AT. You all know. But suppose I take a formula this way, V equals to 2U plus 3AT. Right? If I will check this formula dimensionally, then the dimensional formula of left hand side is LT minus 1. And for this part is LT minus 1 because this is velocity only, and 2 is a dimensionless quantity, constant, and plus this will be LT minus 2 into T. So T minus 2 and T plus 1 will become T minus 1. So this is LT minus 1 plus LT minus 1. So according to our principle of homogeneity of dimensions, you can see that the dimensions of individual terms are same on both the sides of the equal to sign. So it means that this formula is dimensionally correct, but we have no such type of formula. So what does it mean? It means, now you listen to my words properly, it means that with the help of dimensional method, okay, you cannot check the correctness of a physical relation. Rather, you can check the incorrectness of a physical relation. Incorrectness means a dimensionally incorrect physical relation is always incorrect. Okay, a dimensionally incorrect physical relation is always incorrect, but a dimensionally correct relation may or may not be correct also. Okay, so we cannot check the correctness of a physical relation with the help of dimensional method. Rather, what we can check? We can check the incorrectness of the physical relation. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So actually by
Yes,
this
sir.
method we check the incorrectness, not the correctness, because a dimensionally correct equation can be incorrect also. That I gave you an example, but a dimensionally incorrect equation will always be incorrect. It cannot be correct. Okay, so that is our second actually use of this dimensional method, that we do not check the correctness, actually we check the incorrectness of a physical relation. Okay. Okay, now I think time is over and we are left with one more. Can we continue for 10 more minutes? Is it possible? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it will take 10 more minutes because then this complete portion will be finished, so that tomorrow sir can start the new part. Okay, so let me finish this quickly. Last one, to obtain a physical relation. Obtaining a physical relation. Suppose I will obtain this formula, T equals to 2 pi under root L upon G. That formula itself, suppose I obtain for you dimensionally, right? So what we do, that experimentally we find out that the time period of oscillation of a simple pendulum depends on which quantities. So what we found experimentally, that time period depends on length and time period depends on the acceleration due to gravity. On two quantities, this has to be found experimentally. Okay, let us suppose that the time period depends on L to the power A and G to the power B. Okay, alright, so it means that T is proportional to L raised power A, G raised power B. Now what we need to find is these values A and B. Okay, and with the help of that we will form the relation. Suppose you don't have this equation, what we know, that time period of oscillation of a pendulum depends on length. How it depends? Raised to the power A. It depends on acceleration due to gravity. How? To the power B. So it means we know that time period depends on L raised power A, G raised power B. Okay, so now we will write T is equal to K, L raised power A, G raised power B, where K is constant of proportionality. Now we will write the dimensional formula M0 L0 T1 of left hand side. And what will be the dimensional formula on right hand side? L is length, so length raised to the power A, and G is LT minus 2 power B. You can write simply K L raised for A, and this B is common to both, so you can write simply L raised for A into L raised for B into T raised for minus 2B. Okay, this B is common to both the quantities, so L raised for P and T raised for minus 2B. So you can write K L raised for, now bases are same, so powers will be added, L raised for A plus B into T raised for minus 2B. Okay, now as per the principle of homogeneity of dimensions, the dimensions of fundamental quantities on both sides of the equation must be same. So it means that the dimension of M should be equal to dimension of M. See, here there is no M, so it means M raised for 0, so they are already equal. Now L raised for 0 and L raised for A plus B, it means that A plus B should be equal to 0. And what about T? Power 1, and here power is minus 2B. So 1 is equal to minus 2B while equating the dimensions of T. So from here you get B is equal to minus 1 by 2. And if you substitute A, you get A is equal to minus B equals to plus 1 by 2. So now you have the values of A and B. Now you substitute this value in 1. Okay. So we substitute the values of A and B in 1. So we get T is equal to K times A raised to the power half, B raised for minus half. So K A raised to the power A upon B, sorry, A not A, it should be L and G, sorry, L and G, L, G. So L upon G raised to the power half, or K times under root L upon G. Now this value of K cannot be found by dimensional method. So what we write, the value of K is experimentally found to be 2 pi, and therefore T is equal to 2 pi under root L upon G. So we obtained the formula dimensionally for time period of oscillation of a pendulum. Okay, this way you can obtain a physical relation. Now we come to the limitations of this dimensional method, and there are a few important limitations. Limitations, the last topic. Okay, first limitation is the first limitation is this dimensional method doesn't tell you about the dimensionless constants. It does not give you any idea about the dimensionless constants. Suppose there is an involvement of any trigonometric ratio in the formula, so it will not tell you anything about that. Okay, so it does not give idea about dimensionless constant. Okay, does not tell you anything about the dimensionless constant. Suppose we have the formula S equals to ut plus half at square. Okay, so here you have this half. So if you will derive this formula, no need to take this one, we can take some other formula. Like suppose kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. Okay, so if you will derive this formula, it will not tell you anything about this value, this half. So it does not give you any idea about the dimensionless constants. This is one limitation of this dimensional method. Then if suppose you have S equals to ut plus half at square, if more than one terms are involved in obtaining a physical quantity, means S depends on two quantities, so you cannot obtain this physical relation dimensionally. Means if a dimensional equation involves more than one term, then you cannot obtain that relation by the dimensional method, this method. You cannot obtain this formula by this method because it depends on two quantities. Okay, if more than one term is there, you cannot obtain the formula. Okay, then you have another thing is, it does not tell you anything about the nature of the quantity, that whether it is a scalar or a vector quantity, right? So whether the quantity is scalar or vector, it doesn't tell you about that. It does not give you an idea about that. So once again, quickly I am repeating the limitations, that it does not tell you anything about the dimensionless quantity like this. What we wrote about this k, that k is experimentally found to be 2 pi. You cannot obtain this value by the dimensional method. So this is one limitation. Another limitation is, if a quantity has the involvement of more than one term, you cannot obtain that quantity. Third, it does not tell you anything about that whether the quantity is scalar or vector. Okay, so this is all about in your this third dimensional analysis part. Only one section is left now, and that is error analysis. Okay, so now if you have any question, you can